Yeah. Hey guys, I really want you to focus on how's the shape changing as you start adding more weight to it.
Children are natural engineers. They build forts out of blankets, they modify sledding hills with curves and jumps. What if engineering was a regular part of the elementary school? National initiatives call for educators to cultivate the next generation of STEM innovators. My team from UNCG and I worked last summer to prepare a group of teachers from the North Carolina Piedmont to enact a curriculum called Engineering is Elementary. When students engage in engineering tasks, they have the potential to learn the science more robustly. Engineering design tasks actually have the opportunity to cultivate a wide range of students' interests because of their creative, open-ended, and collaborative nature.
On the ends of the bridge.
So with this unit, Engineering is Elementary, engineering really comes to the forefront. It ties in the technology, it ties in the math, and of course it ties in all the scientific components that would go into STEM. Right now, when we were talking about the bridge unit, they really realized there's a lot of effort and thought and planning and creating and understanding of science in order to be able to build a simple bridge that you look at it, you imagine it, you create it, you plan it, then you test it, then it doesn't work, you plan it again. And a lot of discussion and a lot of dialogue that the kids were having.
Smart kids, they bring in their homework, they answer lots of questions, read a lot, they pay attention to the teacher,
study more than most kids do.
Our early work indicates that engineering has the potential to disrupt status quo definitions of school smartness.
Smart engineer, I think, means that they can work well with other people.
make smart choices about the materials they use. Imagining, thinking, creating the process, and improving it.
And you have to make mistakes so you can learn how to get better at things.
Students who aren't traditionally considered smart in school end up getting considered smart engineers. And this is really important when you consider aspects of equity and STEM access.
I had students who would never say anything in class. They were always very quiet. They would never raise their hand. And with this program, they just came to life. They became leaders. They became the ones in the classroom that all of a sudden had a voice. And so, for example, with one student, didn't trust himself, would never raise his hand, and in his group, he wanted to start testing new materials. He wanted to test different materials than his group, and he really led his group and let his voice be heard because he felt comfortable with the design challenge.
2 of the kids actually are classified children as learning disabled, and both of them rose, really shined during this unit. They felt really smart. You could see it the way they carried themselves and the way they talked, how they felt about what they knew. Their hands were up, they were ready to participate, they knew what they were doing, they knew what they were talking, and they felt pretty confident.
When we got to 5th grade and 4th grade and we started doing engineering, I learned that it's important to work together with people because some people are smarter than you at some things and you're smarter than some people at other things.
Classrooms that cultivated a more collaborative culture, where the group's understanding was celebrated over one individual's understanding, students felt more affiliated with science.
Not only does it support our science standards, but it supports our literacy standards, math standards, social studies, new Common Core standards, and these higher level thinking skills where we want them to be. All of these things that you just wouldn't expect, and it just takes engagement of a real world scenario, and they're just hooked. At the end of the day, it makes what you want to become as a teacher and what you want your students to become.
Emphasis on teaching engineering could have significant impacts for the teaching and learning of science, but also for the entire elementary curriculum.
I would describe myself as creative,
inventful,
curious,
and happy.